meta magic options. What did it change? Careful spell now prevents an attack creature from taking half damage on a successful save. Okay. Distance spell increases by your sorcerer level instead of doubling. For most spells, aka all spells except for Fireball. Extended spells makes it easier to maintain concentration. Heightened spells now cost 2 instead of 3. It imposes disadvantage on all saves. That's good. Oh, okay. Quicken spell just they added information. Seeking spell has been imported. Subtle spell doesn't require material components unless it... Oh, that's pretty good. Transmuted and then twinned. The 2014 version was too powerful. True. Okay, so they nerfed twinned. Okay, so let me take a couple of those here. So careful spell. Cast a spell that forces other creatures to make a saving throw. You can protect some of those creatures from the spell's force. Spend 1 sorcery points. Choose a number of those creatures. Oh shit. A chosen creature automatically succeeds on the saving throw, and it takes no damage if it would normally take half. That makes careful really good. That makes careful pretty good. Because originally it was like they just succeed on the save. So now you can just like careful fireball and just not deal damage to your friends. Which, to be fair, I've personally always thought should have been a part of it. So, yep. Distance, when you cast a spell that has a range of at least 5 feet, you increase the spell range by a number of feet equal to 30 times your sorcerer. Oh, never mind. It does increase the range of fireball to 300. Never mind. Yeah, this is okay. And you can make a touch spell 30 feet. Yep. Thing that was originally there. So, yeah, this is fine. This is definitely fine. I'm okay with this. Empowered spell. When you roll damage for a spell, you can spend 1 sorcery points. Empowered wasn't changed, was it? No, it wasn't. To reroll a number of damage dice, so this is still the same. Extended, you now also have advantage on Constitution saving throws for concentration. And you can double its duration up to 24 hours. I think that used to be the case, right? Yeah, alright. So that's good. Heightened spell is now only 2, as they said. Sure, quickened. So how do they mention it now? When you cast a spell that has a casting time of an action, you can spend 2 sorcery points to change the casting time to a bonus action for this casting. You can't modify a spell in this way if you've already cast a spell of 1st level or higher on the current turn, nor can you cast a spell of 1st level or higher on this turn after modifying the spell in this way. Okay, so they specified it, which that's good. That's good, yeah. Seeking spell. If you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, spend 2 sorcery points to re-roll. Oh, and you can use Seeking spell even if you have already used a different meta magic option during the casting of the spell. Does that mean that technically with the 9th level, the 5th level spell from Sorcerer that they get for free, that you can technically have like 3 meta magic options? Seeking spell and 2 others? Because that'd be cool. I would assume so. Subtle changed? Now also removes the need for a material component. Yeah. Without any verbal, somatic, or material components, except material components consumed by the spell. Transmute it, spend to change the damage type to acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, thunder, which is great for Ryu. Wizards can do it now anyway as well, so who cares? Twin spell. When you cast a spell of 1st to 5th level that you also cast in your previous turn by expending a spell slot, you can fuel this turn's casting of the spell by spending a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level rather than expending a spell slot. Oh, okay. So you can just get a second cat, like for... I know I keep bringing up Fireball, but let's say that you cast Fireball and you want to cast it again, you can just spend 3 sorcery points instead. Yeah, sure, that's not too bad. It pretty much gives you an extra spell slot. Yeah. Pretty much it gives you an extra spell slot the way that Font of Magic does for less price, but you have to have cast the spell already in order to have it. So I think this is fine. I think this is okay. This is also Twin Spell. I remember like Twin Spell was also just like a really difficult one because we never understood which spells were technically able to be twinned and which ones weren't. I've always had a very difficult time figuring out which ones were and which ones weren't. I don't know, just maybe that's just me, but yeah. Sorcerer subclass. So we know it's a subclass. Draconic Sorcery. So let's see. Your innate magic comes from the gift from a dragon. Perhaps an ancient dragon facing death bequeathed some of its magical power to you or your ancestor. You might have absorbed magic from a site infused with dragon's power, perhaps the location where a great dragon was slain. Or perhaps you handled a treasure taken from a dragon's hoard, some precious item that was infused with draconic power. Or you might even claim a dragon for an ancestor or wield draconic magic by virtue of your dragonborn heritage. Okay. Apparently they actually renamed it from Draconic Bloodline. So they replaced Bloodline by Sorcery. Do they ever explain why? No? Okay. Sure. So they renamed it. Sure. Resilience gives a base AC that is 10 plus Dex plus Ka. Ka! Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's what you want, right? Pretty much means that you're gonna have, like, early on, you're gonna have 15 plus your Dex, which, yeah. This is going to make it so that you have higher AC sorcerers, which I do think is going to make Draconic Bloodline a pretty decent bloodline to pick. Right, Dragon Speech, Elemental Affinity. Hey, that's an ability I have on my class as well. Okay, I'm just gonna go through these because, oh shit, Dragon Wings now modifies. Okay, sure. Wait, hold on. So let's start with this. So Draconic Resilience. So the magic in your body manifests physical traits. Hit point enhancement increases by 3. Oh, yeah. Increases by 3 because now you only get the ability at 3rd level. And increases by 1 again whenever you gain an additional sorcerer level. Makes complete sense, yes. And your AC is now 10 plus your Dex plus your Charisma, which also makes sense. So this is also now more in line with, because originally, technically, the only thing that Draconic Resilience really did was, you get a free mage armor. That's really what it did. Which just meant you didn't have to pick up mage armor early on. So yeah. And Dragon Speech. Was Dragon Speech a thing? Your Draconic gift causes your speech to be understood by all creatures of the dragon type, and you understand their communication. Oh yeah, it used to be... Oh, this used to give you advantage on charisma checks when interacting with dragons. Double proficiency bonus, and you can speak, read, and write Draconic. Okay. Which was just under Dragon Ancestor back in the day, but yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say like that I prefer this, but meh, if I'm being honest. Elemental Affinity. Your Draconic magic is an affinity with one of the damage types associated with dragons. Choose one of those types: acid, cold, fire, poison, or lightning. You have resistance to that damage type, and when you cast a spell that deals damage of that type, add your Charisma modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. Out of sheer curiosity, isn't fire, like, hands down the best type for that? Isn't it really, like, pretty much known that fire damage is probably the most rolled damage type in the game, on average? I don't know, someone's told me that at some point, and Like, I know that I'm saying Fireball again, but it is the best spell in the game. Probably one of the best spells in the game, damage-wise. So, I don't know. Like, you just pretty much, you don't pick like a fucking Dragonic ancestry anymore. That's really the whole thing, right? You don't pick your ancestry anymore, which, to be perfectly honest, I'm not mad about that. The only thing maybe that I'm a little sad about is that they didn't add, like, Psychic, Necrotic, Radiant off of the Gem Dragons. But other than that, like, you just have resistance to that damage type instead of, like, what was it? Oh yeah, instead of you have to spend 1 sorcery point to be resistant to that damage type for an hour. Like, yeah, this is just better. Is it weird that it feels like this has become a very defensive sorcerer subclass? The only thing that I don't know if you, like, from a lore perspective, it doesn't make sense that you can change your elemental affinity, but like, that's like the one thing that I wonder, like, if they shouldn't make this replaceable in like a long rest. But technically, I guess from a story perspective, it doesn't make sense because you're always, although technically they do say Dragonic sorcery, not bloodline anymore. So technically, with their new wording, it's possible. Because you just have magic infused with dragon's power. It doesn't specify that it has to be one dragon. It could be Bahamut for all you care. Technically. The Holy Sorcerer. Dragonic Exhalation. Once per turn when you cast Sorcerer's Burst, you can exhale it in a 15-foot cone rather than selecting a target within range. Cast a spell in this way, you must choose the damage type associated with your elemental affinity feature. When you do so, you make a separate attack and damage rolls against each creature in the spell's cone. We're at page 29. Which one was this? Sorcerer's Burst. Is that the cantrip? Or is that the... That's the cantrip. So I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't know how big of a fan I am of forcing the usage of a cantrip at level 10. It's been one of my main issues with how Bladesinger was created. Like, Bladesinger is like the one that, to me, has kind of always felt kind of weird with this idea. Where it's like, now you can cast more cantrips, and it's like, but at this point I don't need to cast more cantrips. And there it was like level 6 where you were still probably going to run out of spell slots. Here you're level 10. How often are you going to run out of, like, spells? I don't know. Although it's just turning Sorcerer's Burst, which at level 10 is 2d6. It's 2d6 into a 15-foot cone, which 2, maybe 3 targets makes it a 6d6. I mean, it makes it a Dragon's Breath, is what they're saying. Which, sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how often you're gonna use this. I don't think you're gonna use this very often. Maybe, well, no, maybe in long dungeons, right? Because they do assume a bunch of encounters. And I think from that balance standpoint, you are probably going to use cantrips a lot more, and now you have an AoE option. So maybe it's a lot better than I'm currently giving it credit for, but it doesn't feel like their most powerful ability, to be perfectly honest. And then Dragon Wings. They got rid of Dragonic Presence, I just realized. Your innate magic can now manifest the spectral Dragonic wings. While your sorcery incarnate spell is active, you sprout those wings and gain a fly speed equal to your speed. And you can hover. In addition, at the end of each of your turns, you can flap the wings to unleash magical energy, dealing damage to each creature of your choice within 15 feet. Damage equals your charisma modifier. It is the damage type of your elemental affinity. Okay. So, we're at page 30. Sorcery Incarnate. Hold on. Is, I think, the 5th level one, right? Yeah. So that's the one with the sorcery points, double meta magic, and its advantage on attack rolls. I still don't like that spell. I still think that it's very little value for a 5th level spell. This means you also add a flying speed to it as a 5th level spell. You deal, at this point, I would assume 5 points of damage to everybody within 15 feet of you that you want at the end of each of your turns for free. Which, 2-3 targets, if you're, I mean, to be fair, you're a sorcerer, you have no hit points. Why would you want to be in melee with shit? Like, you would get your wings to get the fuck out, not to get closer. I don't know. Here's the thing. I've never been a fan of solo sorcerer in and of itself. I will admit that. I've always been way more of a wizard fanboy. I'm going to completely admit that. I think wizard is probably hands down my favorite class. So sorcerer has always kind of fallen to the wayside for me. The only reason I really use sorcerer is like the Sorcerer build, right? Or coffee lock or whatever, which to be honest was just an abuse of its abilities. I'm not the biggest fan of sorcerer in and of itself, because it's always felt like the weaker caster class and the less versatile caster class, I guess, which might, maybe for some of you that seems weird. This is an opinion, to be fair. So I don't know. I like what they did with Draconic. It's just I feel like the features and the spells that I've seen here are so they feel weird and they feel weak or weaker than I'd like them to be. I mean, again, maybe that's just the nerf that they're doing over the board for full casters, because higher level full casters need to be toned down a lot, and you can't really give them a lot because, to be fair, at 18, this fucker is getting wish, which I still think is dumb, but okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. This is not my favorite part of the UA. I'm gonna be honest. All right. I think next one's gonna be Warlock. Yes.